Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Former Steelers WR Deontay Johnson wasn't expecting to be traded. The Pittsburgh Steelers took part in some of football's most surprising trades this offseason. They traded Kenny Pickett to the Eagles. Then they traded for Justin Fields to replace him. Still, their most surprising trade may have been the one that sent Deontay Johnson to the Carolina Panthers. The deal saw the Steelers receive Donte Jackson and the 178th pick in this year's draft in exchange for Johnson and the 240th pick. At least one of the players involved in the deal wasn't expecting to get dealt. While speaking to the media on April 23, Johnson revealed that he was surprised that he was traded, but he felt blessed to get a fresh start. "I was surprised, but blessed at the same time. Fresh start somewhere. I've been in Pittsburgh 5 years now. Coming here is different. Still trying to get acclimated, but I'm enjoying the process right now." At the time the Steelers made the trade, a cornerback was one of the team's biggest needs. They had very little experience at the position outside of Joey Porter Jr. after they released Patrick Peterson. Trading for Jackson didn't do much to address that aside from giving the secondary a bit more speed, which they were lacking in 2023. Jackson isn't coming off of the best season. Last year, he allowed opposing QBs to complete more than 65% of their pass attempts when throwing his way and gave up 12.4 yards per completion according to PFF. The completion percentage allowed is worse than what the Steelers got from Peterson last season, and the yards per completion were just 0.1 better than what Peterson allowed in 2023. Meanwhile, the trade had a big impact on the Steelers' offense. The deal left them without a WR2. At the time, the only players left who had made a catch for the Steelers in 2023 were George Pickens and Calvin Austin. Austin has just 180 career receiving yards. Since then, they've signed Quez Watkins and Van Jefferson, but neither of them is really a replacement for Johnson. That has left them still looking for somebody that can replace a receiver that had a very productive 5 years in Pittsburgh just a couple of days before the draft. The Steelers drafted Johnson in the 3rd round back in 2019, and it was an investment that definitely paid off for him during his time with the team. Johnson's NFL career had a solid start. As a rookie, Johnson joined a Steelers organization whose passing game was going through a major change after they traded Antonio Brown. That year, he led the team in catches with 59 and finished second on the team in receiving yards with 680. In year 2 his impact grew. Johnson made 88 catches during his second NFL campaign and led the Steelers with 923 yards. Then he had the best year of his career in 2021. Johnson's 3rd season saw him make 107 catches for 1,161 yards and 8 touchdowns on his way to a spot in the Pro Bowl. His numbers tailed off in 2022, but he was still a reliable producer for the Steelers. He made 86 catches for 882 yards in the team's first season after Ben Roethlisberger's retirement. In what ended up being Johnson's final season with the Steelers, he was overtaken as the team's WR1 by Pickens. He still managed to make 51 catches for 717 yards. Now he'll return to being a WR1 as he joins the Panthers. Steelers targeting trade-up draft board for speedy, physical CB, report. The Pittsburgh Steelers addressed cornerback with the first pick of day 2 in the 2023 draft. This year, though, it's possible the Steelers don't even wait until their first pick at number 20 overall to draft another cornerback. Sportskeeda's Tony Pauline reported on April 23 that the Steelers are pursuing the possibility of acquiring the number 12 overall pick from the Denver Broncos to draft Toledo cornerback Quinyon Mitchell. "I'm told the Steelers and Broncos are talking trade as Pittsburgh is another team that is targeting Mitchell and would move up to draft him," wrote Pauline. Mitchell is the only prospect who ESPN, Pro Football Focus and Bleacher Report all have ranked as one of the best 2 cornerbacks in the 2024 draft class. Both ESPN and Bleacher Report have Mitchell rated as the best cornerback in the class. With his size, speed, and strength, NFL scouts project Mitchell to be a complete cornerback at the next level. He has the strength and physicality to defend the run and the speed and ball skills to cover downfield, wrote Bleacher Report's Corey Giddings. He has the ceiling of a top 15 selection, with the potential of being a day one starter and lengthy NFL career. At the 2024 NFL Combine, Mitchell ran the 40-yard dash in 4.33 seconds. That was the second fastest time among cornerbacks at the Combine. The Steelers acquired cornerback Donte Jackson from the Carolina Panthers on March 12. Given that the Steelers shipped starting wide receiver Diontae Johnson to Carolina in the deal, it would be surprising if Jackson doesn't have a significant role for Pittsburgh during 2024. But cornerback depth is still a concern for the Steelers. Plus, the idea of pairing Mitchell with 2023 number 32 overall pick Joey Porter Jr. should be very enticing. Together, Mitchell and Porter could give Pittsburgh one of the top young cornerback tandems in the league. There aren't any cornerbacks projected to be a top 10 pick in this year's class. But Mitchell is one of the elite prospects to grab at cornerback this spring. He also will almost certainly be gone by number 20, which is currently where the Steelers will pick. Mitchell possesses a gumbo of traits, with size, strength, and speed filling up the pot, wrote NFL.com's Lance Zierlein. He's built like a running back, tackles like a safety, and has the ball skills of a cornerback. Mitchell can play in a variety of coverages and was the clear-cut top cornerback at the Senior Bowl when working against the top receivers in practice. Mitchell's traits, play demeanor, and special teams potential should make him attractive to teams in the market for CB help. In 13 games last season, Mitchell posted 18 pass defenses with 1 interception and 41 total tackles. He had 5 interceptions with 19 pass defenses during 2022. The Steelers have moved up the draft board in 2 of the past 5 drafts. But that's not the only history repeating itself if general manager Omar Khan traded draft picks with the Broncos in the first round this year. In 2019, the Steelers moved up from number 20 to number 10 for linebacker Devin Bush. Pittsburgh acquired the number 10 selection from the Broncos. This year, Denver holds the number 12 overall pick. To move up 10 spots 5 years ago, the Steelers sent the Broncos a 2019 second-rounder and a third-round pick the following year. A trade up to number 12 from number 20 would likely cost a similar amount this spring. That's a lot to pay even for Mitchell, especially because cornerback isn't regarded as Pittsburgh's biggest need. The Steelers don't have a natural center currently on their roster and could use a significant upgrade at offensive tackle. Mitchell's good. But that's expensive, Steelers Depot's Alex Kozora wrote on X, and the Steelers have a ton of needs. The Steelers could also have competition for the number 12 pick, which will only drive up the potential compensation needed to acquire the selection. Pauline reported the Philadelphia Eagles are also interested in moving up to number 12 for Mitchell. Pair of potential Steelers targets risers in the NFL draft, Jordan Schultz says. Throughout the pre-draft process, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been heavily connected to a handful of potential first-round picks, such as Duke's Graham Barton, Oregon's Jackson Powers Johnson, Oregon State's Talise Fuaga, Texas' Adonai Mitchell, and more. According to NFL insider Jordan Schultz, both Mims and Thomas Jr. are risers in the draft class and won't be available to the Steelers in the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft on Thursday in Detroit. 2 risers for you, LSU WR Brian Thomas Jr. and Georgia OT Amarius Mims. They won't be around very long come Thursday. Teams love these dudes, Schultz wrote on Twitter Tuesday regarding Mims and Thomas Jr. Mims is a player that has been tied to the Steelers since the start of the pre-draft process. Though he started just 8 games at Georgia and played in just over 800 career snaps, the tape is very good overall from the 6'76", 340-pound right tackle. Pittsburgh had a formal interview with him at the 2024 NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, then attended his Georgia Pro Day and later hosted him in Pittsburgh for a pre-draft visit. Adding a player like Mims would allow the Steelers to flip second-year lineman Broderick Jones back to his more natural left tackle position. This would strengthen the Steelers' offensive line at the tackle position with two high-ceiling Georgia bookends. The Steelers aren't the only team that seems to like him, though, as the Bengals, Saints, Jets, and others have shown interest. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation of Amarius Mims? Leave your opinion in the comments.